But if you can still remember your thought process of that area.
I think one of the things that I want to say is this, and this goes to the issue of the nomination process. I'm again going to give you my own example. My own station where I vote, which is in Njoro, DB. Do you know we had a paralysis where the presiding officers had refused to conduct elections, and the guys that they had not been paid, and they did not start elections until about noon, 12 noon. Personally, I voted at exactly 12:30, and I was at my station at 8:30. Now, if you look at Njoro, where it is, where first of all the ballot papers were coming from, is a stone away through. The returning officer's office, where the ballot boxes were, to where my voting is, if you are a good javelin thrower, like we have Yego, he can throw the javelin and can reach there. We never started voting until 12:30. I had to make a lot of noise. Why is it that we are not getting the ballot boxes and ballot papers and the returning officers? Now, in that situation, when the last point that I talked about, ID were allowed to be used, do you know there are people from Nakuru who voted in Njoro? Again, I have evidence.
From Nakuru town?
From Nakuru town. They came from Nakuru, and they are not from Njoro, and they voted there. Now, you tell me, how legitimate is that kind of a vote? So we really must be able to say this. Politics in this country, we must have hygiene, and we must have the capacity to conduct them. But let us not kid ourselves that we can wish away politics. Politics is a serious business, and anybody calling himself a professional, a businessman, or a poor man, or a rich man, or whatever it is, who is indifferent about politics, that person does not live in this world. Because politics affects everybody in this country. Nothing happens without politics getting involved. Because whether you're talking about making the laws, they are made by politicians. Whether you're talking about policies, they are made by politicians. Whether you're talking about taxation, it is by politicians. So it is really important that Kenyans should understand. You cannot say politics is dirty. The moment you say politics is dirty, you are trying to say that I don't care how my life is going to be conducted.
Senator Wamatangi.
Yeah, sure. I wanted to comment quickly the reason why you find that we have a lot of disquiet right now on the outcome of these nominations. One, I believe, is because of the difference in understanding and perception, and this is evident in the turnout that you saw during the nominations. That evidently, and we can't deny this, the nominations this time were different. Different because the voter took nominations seriously. And I'll tell you why. Partly, and I say partly, not all, you find that some of the big names in politics will be crying or are crying. You know, earlier on, the way of nominations was you were able to go to the nearest marketplace or big urban center, mobilize guys, and give them each 200 and send them to the polling station. And they all go there and they were able to vote you in. And because you're the big guy around and you're the big name in politics there. And if you have the muscle to move many people quickly, you'd go and get them to vote for you. Now, this time it changed a little. And this is evident, whether we deny it or not as politicians. People came out and queued this time, old women. There are some photos of myself that ran when I was in a polling station in Rironi, in Limuru. Old women, my grandmothers were there, lining up, and they voted. And the outcome of this nomination was so close, other than some of those few flaws, because some of those few flaws are there. Sometimes even in general elections they are there. But the outcome this time reflects a different opinion expressed by the kind of turnout that we got in terms of the content of the people, the type of people who came out. And that's why you find that largely now it's starting to look like close to the results of a general election or an election itself. And that's what you find. If you look at most of, and I'm a politician myself, I judge myself with the same measure, with the same measure. When you get to political failure, close to political failure, you need to also look backwards and see, because there is also an element of track record that comes in. If you find Halwale going to a nomination in Kakamega, no matter how eventful it is, no matter what flows will be there to the minimum, and he goes and flops and falls on his face, yes, he could blame the sunshine or blame the rain or blame Oparanya, but there will be an element
of his own failure.
Of his own failure,
yes.
in that particular failure, okay. And he may not be necessarily right. And the last point I wanted to make was on what Halwale talked about political party funds. And the one I wanted to say, it's true that political parties must be more transparent in how they spend the money that comes into their hands. First, from the monies they receive from public coffers. That one I would need to emphasize. Because if you look at the amounts that were received by political parties last time, it was in hundreds of millions each political party. I remember there was one of them, I think 700 million, 900 million, 500 million. That kind of money going to a political party, and is one, unaudited. Two, there is no known structure of this, how this money is going to be spent. And lastly, the amount of money collected by political parties, and I'm glad that I've also started to see my friend's face now is shining. Halwale, you know, he's now a deputy party leader, and they're receiving a lot of money. This from Nini, from aspirants, like you said. So really, this money also that you're receiving as deputy party leader, you know, and you said it correctly that it is being received by political parties, and they're not putting it to conduct free and fair nominations. Okay. I think we need to get to a point whereby we will also demand that there be an audit of public parties funds.
Okay. Let's say something about audit. Okay. I want to confirm today, this morning, that the political party called for Kenya, we subjected our accounts to the test by the Auditor General. He has audited, he has returned as an opinion that our accounts are unqualified.
Please bring it to the Public Accounts Committee.
Yes, I will come. I'll bring you a copy.
Yes, we know.
I'll bring you a copy next week.
I'm going to summon you and summon Wetangula.
Gentlemen, let's move on. Let's move on.
Ask you.
Now, when it comes to party primaries, the intention is to nominate, to select people who will bear party tickets for the main race come the main elections. But it appears that when we go for party primaries, it is more than meets the eye. That the intention by some of these parties, by some of these politicians, is not exactly what the electorate think. Now, this is what this headline seems to be suggesting on the Daily Nation, that this one says Jaguar winters Jubilee loyalties. The story is about the bigwigs from Murang'a, and now the fact that the Jubilee Party primaries has managed to lock out a particular group called the Rwathia crowd, who are big businessmen originating from Murang'a County who operate their businesses in Nairobi and who are very influential when it comes to Nairobi politics. As it is now, it appears none of them is going to make it. What does that mean? What does it have to do with the succession politics? Remember, there's always been this argument that when it comes to Mount Kenya region politics, it moved from, the leadership moved from Kiambu when Jomo Kenyatta was president. It went to Nyeri when Mwai Kibaki was president. It came back to Kiambu when Uhuru Kenyatta took over. Now, in between, there's Murang'a County. This is the same Murang'a that is now being locked out of Nairobi politics. Do you think it's purely coincidental, Senator Halwale?
I think at this point in time, the most important thing is for me to congratulate President Uhuru. Uhuru has demonstrated leadership by not being seen to interfere with the outcome of the nominations. Knowing what Kaboko did for Uhuru when Uhuru was shortchanging Mudavadi, what Mbarire did for Uhuru, what Jamla Kamau did for Uhuru, that Uhuru has not interfered, he might be becoming democratic after all. So I really would like to congratulate him.
You don't think it has anything to do with his own succession, and as far as Mount Kenya leadership is concerned?
No. In Nairobi, the attempt at succession was when they were trying to bring in Peter Kenneth.
Who is also from Murang'a.
Yes, Peter Kenneth. But what is happening now is a realization that Nairobi ndio mambo yote. Not many people were considering the important point that 57% of our GDP is from Nairobi. So is when everybody wants to be in control of Nairobi. And by the way, this is not the first time somebody has tried to edge out Murang'a business people from Nairobi. Even after independence, the first African mayor, I know you're too young to remember, was from Kakamega, Ekolomani, Isaac Lugonzo. And quickly, President Kenyatta attempted to force and brought in Margaret Kenyatta, his own daughter. But the natural tendency in Nairobi is that it is the Murang'a people who provide leadership because they're the owners of the majority of the businesses until up to some time. I think the Somalis have started coming in and the Asians and so on and so to speak. So to me, it is not succession. It is an attempt to control the resource that is Nairobi. Somebody like Kamanda, he has not just happened into Nairobi. Kamanda is in the generation of David Mwenje, in the generation of Magic Mwangi. Remember Magic Mwangi? The mayor. Nairobi has traditionally been led by Kikuyus from Murang'a because they're the ones who are doing businesses here.
First of all, I want to make sure that historical facts remain historical facts. The first mayor was somebody called Charles Rubia.
Oh, it was up, and then
Isaac Lugonzo
came
after that.
No, wait a minute.
Oh yeah, the first mayor who was elected in Nairobi was Charles Rubia, who was from Murang'a.
And then Isaac Lugonzo.
And then Isaac Lugonzo got it, and then Mrs. Kenyatta, Margaret Kenyatta came on board. Now, let's put it this way. It will be foolhardy for anybody who knows Kenya to ignore the politics of Nairobi. Yes. Because it is the national capital. It's actually the diplomatic capital of Africa, given the United Nations agencies are in Nairobi. And it is, as Mheshimiwa Kalawole has said, 57% plus of our GDP is from Nairobi. And therefore, it doesn't matter whether you are from Siaya, or you are from Mandera, or you are from Kwale, or you are from Kakamega, to have no interest in Nairobi, it means you actually don't understand how the country is governed. So, whether by coincidence there is a greater leverage by the Murang'a crowd, it is neither here or there. It is a natural affinity for anybody to want to gravitate towards Murang'a. But let me also put it this way. I think Kenyans must understand one thing. When it comes to the question of management of public resources, the critical question that we must ask ourselves is this. The person to whom we are conferring leadership, is this person having the wherewithal to manage, not only to manage it, but to grow the economy? Because let me tell you, our greatest challenge in this country has nothing to do with ethnicity. Whether you come from this area, you come from that area. It is that we are not cooking a bigger cake. And because we are not cooking a bigger cake, the small cake there is, all of us flock towards it. And my challenge today to fellow Kenyans is this. Let us understand that our problems begin and will end with how much we are able to develop by way of expanding the economic opportunities for Kenyans in this country. Because by expanding the economy, you are saying facilities like health, facilities like education, facilities like infrastructure, facilities like security, facilities like even research and development, accessing resources to our universities in order for us to be able to become creative, to become innovative will always be informed by how big or how small.
Karanja Kabage, let's be honest. Are we saying that there's nothing to do with Uhuru Kenyatta's succession or Deputy William Ruto's eventual succeeding President Kenyatta? That nothing, this party primaries had nothing to do with that at any level.
Okay, let me put it this way, and I think I was going to go to that. Anybody again who is so naive that cannot think and take a mental flight and ask themselves who is going to be in the State House in 2017, who is going to be in State House in 2022, that person is living in the mass. Because we know a person sitting at State House, our lives, almost 90% of our lives, will be determined by what he does or does not do. Therefore, I will not be sitting here to lie to the Kenyans that I should not be even thinking about the succession. We must think. And not only should we even think about the succession, we also need to look at the track record of who we are going to put in State House in 2017, who are we going to put in State House in 2022, 2027, 2032, and so forth and so on. Because we know, particularly in the African context, a president means so much. And therefore, if we are talking about who is going to be the leader in terms of, first of all, elective offices, beginning at MCA level, going to women rep, going to a member of the National Assembly, going to the senators and the governors, it is imperative for us to think about the quality of the men and women. I may not please the people of Kakamega, but if I was to make a choice as a non-Kakamegan, I will choose Bonnie Kawale. Because first of all, I know we have no record of Bonnie having stolen public resources. I have never seen that. Now, when it comes to the question of intellectual engagement, I'm very comfortable with Kawale. Now, people from other places, they can say, for me, Nairobi, who am I going to elect Nairobi to be a leader in Nairobi? I must be able to determine, does this person who is going to come and become in charge of 20 billion shillings that are coming from the national coffer, and then another 10 billion that should be coming from the taxes and the levies that are going to be raised in Nairobi. Does this person know what he's doing?
Okay. Senator Senator Matangi, sorry. Yes. I want you to be honest.
No,
in this particular one, because the question I'm asking is a bit different. From the losses and the wins, in as far as Jubilee Party primaries are concerned, not generalizing the country, in as far as Jubilee Party primaries are concerned, from the losses and the wins, can we clearly say there's nothing to do with succession politics? That yes, someone could have pulled some strings here and there to ensure that he or she has a say when it comes to the eventual succession of President Uhuru Kenyatta?
Well, let me say, for the sake of the question that Karanja Kabage posed about who will be in State House in 2017, I want to confirm that it will be Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta in State House in 2017.
He's already there in 2017.
Now, onwards to 2022, it will be Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. That's the person who will be in State House. His deputy will be William Samoei Ruto until 2022. The question that you asked, I would paraphrase it this way. I don't like talking about succession politics right now. In my own true position, as I think about it and contemplate about it, I would be happier to talk about it post 2017 all the way to 2020. That's when we would really be talking about success, such that we're able to get our people to concentrate with what we want to do now. But for the sake of comments, I can make comments.
Yes.
Yeah. But my position is that I would actually urge our people, let's debate this issue at the right time.
That's why I asked you to.
At the right time, so that we can keep our focus first on the goal of past.
But this party primaries that just happened.
Onwards, build our party, move at the right time from 2020 there, 2021, we can deal with succession. That's my position. But I can comment because you've asked for the comment. One, the question should be paraphrased this way: with the outcome of the nominations now, and we have seen who has been nominated here and there and there, how would succession politics or succession look like? What would be the way forward? I think that would be the paraphrase, such that now one would be asking, you know, with the outcome then, how would it look like? And the few comments I would make, you know, as you said, candidly as an individual, they are not bound by the lines. One is that, for example, you know, when Peter Kenneth came to vie, because you brought in the issue of Murang'a, when Peter Kenneth came to vie in Nairobi, to begin with, personally I asked myself, was that his best strategy? Would he have been better off vying in Murang'a? Would it have been an easier win for him if he wanted to remain relevant in the politics after 2022? And probably relevant to the extent that maybe he would have bargained either to be a running mate or something. I'm thinking out loud. Yes. And so I was wondering, has he made his right decisions? Secondly, when it comes to the question you raised about Commander, my position would be, I was also a bit surprised. He's an old hand in politics in Nairobi, and I would have expected that he's able to really marshal people and get them to vote for him. If anything, sincerely, personally, I would have been for a Commander win, because as a Jubilee Party member, I would certainly be knowing, just the way Halwale is in Kakamega, that, you know, when he's playing his politics in Kakamega, NASA has some weight. When Commander is playing his politics in Nairobi, the reality is that he is able to move things, in spite of the outcome. I'm now speaking out loud. Secondly, you know, just across the succession lines that you spoke about, and these are just comments. I said they're not binding, you know, anyone. You know, if you look at probably the outcome of the contest between Jamlek and Mwangi wa Iria, I think it's going to be a rematch in August. Would see how it comes out, and you see, you know, within the Murang'a political landscape, then who is there. Now, but go further to Nyeri, you also find that Mutahi Kagwe lost in the Jubilee nomination. So that again, and with the demise of Gachagua just the other day, how would that sit? And so if you ask me to make a very frank comment, very extremely frank, that I would probably be held in bad, you know, in bad light by anyone, but this is my personal opinion. I would be saying that we would be looking at where we are, the outcome of the nominations. In my heart of hearts, I find it hard to believe that notion or that story that's being built, that there was anyone pulling strings. That one I really find very hard, because I know the electoral process. There is nowhere where people sat and said, between Murang'a, let me make my point. Yes. There was no time when people sat during the previous election and said, bring all the people from Murang'a, all the people from Nyeri, from Meru, and Tharaka Nithi and Kiambu. And now we will say it is Kiambu's time. There was nothing like that. It is a kind of a hierarchical thing as people are moving in their political ventures.
Just playing out.
You know, just like now Halwale, as he moves with Paranya and the rest, and Wetangula, you know, in the next 5 years, people will be saying, who is the most senior politician in the Western? And they'll be saying, Halwale. And so who do we give? That kind of thing. So
the fact that some of these senior politicians, especially from Mount Kenya, did not win in
pursuit, then you find that some of them fell by the wayside. The point I wanted to make was this. What we would be saying, and what I would be saying as Wamatangi, is, here we are, and so is fallen by the wayside, and these are the people we've got. And we are in 2021. And here, you know, already as Jubilee Party, we had sat and discussed and pre-negotiated. We'll be having His Excellency, the Deputy President, William Ruto, as our flag bearer at that time. What the people of Central would be saying is that when we have Ruto Samoei as the flag bearer, what do we negotiate with this team and our flag bearer?
That's the question.
So that we move along
Yes.
With our arrangement.
Okay.
He's our flag bearer, but where do we sit?
Senator, I think you just hit the nail on the head. Yeah. But before we go on with that discussion, of course, it's Thursday, and Chef Ali Mandri is cooking up something. Today is with Joy Mudhengi. Joy, take it away.